Okay, and you can read it a lot. You can see it. The trees bore silent witness. Poland, July 2013. We have come to see what has become the Jews of this land. The cemetery in Warsaw is vast, bearing testimony to a long and thriving history. How many generations of righteous men and women are buried on these grounds, O God? Rabbis and scholars, writers and artists, philanthropists, doctors and mohels, and women who are generous with their tzedakah. I move this over. More than a millennium ago, it was that you, O God, gave a message to the wandering Jews of Europe. Poland, you told them, rest here, and life will be good for you. Who would have believed then that one day this promise would expire? When you besiege a city, do not destroy its trees. You have forbidden us to cut down trees without reason. How many graves in the cemetery, O God, show headstones with trees snapped in half, or tree trunks with no roots or limbs? And these were the trees she took pictures. Just as the life of these trees was cut short, the occupants of these graves were deprived of bearing fruit. The Umschlagplatz, the gathering point. Over 300,000 Jews began their final journey from this spot, boarding the trains which would take them for resettlement. The arch over the memorial shows a field of broken trees. The memorial itself is broken in two. We all looked to see if our names were on the list of common first names carved into the walls. I found mine. How many Margalites were taken from this spot, O God? And was any of them like me? Margalite. But wait, look between the shattered trees of the memorial, and what do you see? A living tree, towering high over the carved stones, as if to say, we are still here. A beautiful message, no doubt, but we would have preferred, O God, for there to have been no Omschlagplatz, no rail cars, no transfers, no Munjanik. As we entered the parking lot, there was a large tree lying on the ground. Its leaves were all attached, but but it was bent and broken right at its base. It was warning us, beware of what you will see when you enter this place, for you will never be the same. Like those who came before us, we did not heed the warning. The monument at the entrance to the camp warned us that the way in was not difficult, descending on an easy incline. Once there, however, the way out was a steep staircase, almost impossible to navigate. Still, we continued on. We entered the gas chambers, with their blue-stained walls, saw the unused cans of Zyklone B and the shower heads waiting to receive them. We saw thousands upon thousands of shoes, a whole barracks filled with them. Each one had a story to tell. Some looked like my shoes. Some must surely have belonged to another Marguerite. We entered the crematory and looked into the ovens which turned so many thousands of people, your people, O God, into ashes that rained from the sky. Eitz Chaim He, it is a tree of life for those who hold fast to it. In Mandanjik, O God, the Nazis made a liar out of you. Many held fast to your Torah. Many quickly abandoned it. In the end, it did not matter. As long as the sap which ran through the veins was comprised of Jewish blood, it became a tree of death to them. As we approached the end of the path, we saw another tree. This one was vibrant and full of leaves, and tall, so tall. Surely it must be more than 70 years old. What unspeakable horrors have you witnessed, tree? Were you here during the harvest festival, when over 42,000 Jews were slaughtered in one day, 18,000 of them right here at this spot? If you could talk, what would you tell us? And would we have the strength to listen? Auschwitz-Birkenau. Graceful willow trees stood beside the path as we entered the grounds of the camp. Passing through the gate, we were greeted by tall leafy trees which obscured part of the infamous mocking sign, Arbeit macht frei, work will make you free. The streets we walked on looked like they could have been a college campus. The trees which lined them, silent partners to the deception. We saw the barracks, where 500 human beings were crammed in a space meant for 50 horses. We saw the block where cruel medical experiments were performed by those whose Hippocratic oath had become the oath of a hypocrite. We saw the wall where prisoners were murdered by firing squads, and the gallows used for others, making them ominous warnings of what punishments awaited those who committed the smallest of crimes. And then we entered a building we were told contained material proofs of crimes. And what did we see there? A room full of human hair, some of it woven into fabric, a room full of talitote, a room full of eyeglasses, a room full of shaving brushes, a room full of shoes, a room full of suitcases, most with identifying names and addresses, a room full of pots. If a bird's nest happens to be before you on any tree, you shall not take the mother with the young. You shall surely send the mother away. I'm going to interject. All of these things in blue are from the Torah. Okay. A room full of tiny shoes, O God, bears witness to the 1.5 million children separated from their mothers, whose lives were taken from them. Innocence, innocence. My thoughts drifted to my beautiful grandson, whom I silently vowed to hug more tightly when I got home. What could they possibly have done, O God, to deserve to die so young? We came to the crematorium. Entering the gas chamber, I could see the scratch marks on the walls. Once more, we looked into the throats of the ovens which consumed so many bodies, and once more we walked back out into the brilliant sunshine. Leaving Auschwitz, we came to Birkenau and entered by walking along the same train tracks which brought so many thousands to this awful place. We stood at the spot of the selections. I wondered what my fate would have been if I had stood there 70 years ago. We walked the entire length of the tracks, for that is how long each train was as it entered the camp. Of every tree of the garden you may surely eat, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you must not eat, for on the day you eat from it you shall surely die. And the woman took of its fruit and ate, and she gave also to her husband, and he ate. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized they were naked. Surely the other trees of the garden must have silently pleaded with Eve and Adam not to eat the fruit, to be content with their lives as they were. Then, as now, we did not have the ability to hear or heed the warnings of the trees. We wanted more, O God. We wanted to be like you. We saw the remains of two more crematorium, the steps where as many as 500 descended at once, the room where they were made to undress, the gas chamber, and the ovens, and all in the shadows of magnificent, majestic trees. How is it possible, O God, that they could thrive in this place? In Gan Eden, you gave Adam a name, and he in turn named his wife and all of the animals. In Auschwitz-Birkenau, we were stripped of our names and our identities, known only by the numbers burned into our arms. In Gan Eden, you clothed us when we were naked. In Auschwitz-Birkenau, you abandoned us when we were naked. In Gan Eden, we wanted to know the difference between good and evil. In Auschwitz-Birkenau, we witnessed pure evil. As we drove back to our hotel in a storm of thunder and lightning, the traffic suddenly came to a very slow crawl. We inched along for a very long time until we finally came upon the source of the problem. A very large tree had been struck by lightning. Its trunk snapped. It now lay across the road. It was there to remind us that each of our souls had somehow been broken that day. Just as the traffic moved at a painfully slow pace, each of us would have to slowly, painfully move through the process of absorbing all that we had seen. The cemetery in Lodz, another memorial, this one dedicated to the memories of those evacuated from the ghetto. A smokestack stands guard over a stack of bent, broken, and lifeless tree limbs. It tells us the fate of most of the people who once lived there, broken, dead, cut off from their people, with no one left to say Kaddish for them. All the way on the right side, under the imperfect six-branched menorah, we noticed a single living branch with its leaves still intact. It is reaching up towards what? The sky? You, God? Or the ashes of the hundreds of thousands who perished after deportation? Treblinka, one of 4 death camps built by the Nazis. The trees in this place were co-conspirators with a killing machine. All the buildings which once stood here were destroyed by the Germans in an effort to hide the evidence. We studied a scale model of what the camp once looked like. There were 2 inmates' barracks here, save for the Sonderkommando, who were charged with transporting, burning, and disposing of the bodies of their fellow Jews. How many of them, O God, recognized a relative or friends among the dead? The living quarters for the SS men and their families, located on the opposite side of the camp, even included a petting zoo. How ludicrous that they could care for animals while the stench of burning human flesh constantly filled the air. The greatest deception was perpetrated by the trees which lined the 2 sides of the Himmelstrasse, leading directly from the trees to the gas chamber. Their leafy boughs obscured the view of what really existed beyond Heaven Street, as more than 800,000 Jews in 13 months walked down its path to certain death. Now that the man has become like the one of us, knowing good and evil, what if he should stretch out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat? So the Lord God banished him from the Garden of Eden. In Gan Eden, O God, you denied us access to the tree of life. Why, O God, did you not deny us access to the tree of death, called Treblinka? As we entered the site of the camp, it looked like we could have been entering a park anywhere in the world. The beautiful trees which grew there were planted by the Nazis to cover the grounds after they destroyed all the buildings. They stand in denial of the truth of what happened here. Once again, we stood at a larger-than-life monument and conducted a memorial service. And yet, this time was different. Here in this field where so much death occurred, 7 living branches, each one a child of survivors of the Shoah, stood together, proudly waving the flag of our beloved Eretz Yisrael. Here they are. Each one had found evidence of their families having been here, in gravestones, in lists of names of victims, and in places and towns where their ancestors once walked. They were there to show us all that despite all the plans of the Nazis, despite the 6 million lives so senselessly and cruelly taken, despite the trains, the camps, the gas chambers, and the crematoria, despite it all, we, your chosen ones, continued on, O God, moving forward in the shadow of their memories. And what of me, O God? What was it compelled me to come to this place of so much sorrow, torture, and death? That's Rabbi. I had no relatives to look for in the list of names. My distant relatives may have been among those who perpetrated these horrific crimes, but I walked into Munyanik, I walked into Auschwitz-Birkenau, I walked into Treblinka, I walked into the gas chambers, and I walked into the crematoria, and I entered every one of those places as a Jew. More importantly, I walked back out of each of those places as a Jew. My identity was sealed and cemented in the walls of those gas chambers. I am no less a Jew than the millions who died in them. And like the trees, I, O God, will bear witness to what I have seen. But unlike the trees, O God, I will not be silent. Margie Sella, Marguerite Riel Bat Avraham Sarah, and that is our rabbi. Okay, I'll just stop share for a moment. Um, I don't know. I just felt I had to share that with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. So powerful.
Isn't it? It truly is. She is an amazing woman, and I am so proud to know her.
Yeah,
So, all right.
yeah. My mother was Auschwitz survivor, so it's um yeah, but it's so important to commemorate and to that we have Yom HaShoah every year. It's you know
And hopefully
Yeah.
everyone's congregation or your community have prepared something. I know we did here, we always did it up in Baltimore. It's true. We cannot be silent. And uh, that's just, we are all Jews and we just have to be strong. So, all right. So now we're gonna work on the Hebrew that you need to know. So, all right. So let us now work on. Okay. So this page 33, it's review. I'm going to read all the letters as I point to them, and then I'll let you read lines. So these are our two silent ones, Aleph and Ayin. This is our Hey, Yud, the Chaf, and then the final Chaf. It could have two dots in it. It could have a vowel in it, the A, but this is what it is. This is a Mem, and our final Mem. Nun, final Nun. Bet. Lamed, Kuf. Resh. Shin. See, the dot is on the right. That's our shin. Tav and tav, with or without a dot. Dalet. Kuf. Sadi. And these are our vowels underneath. E and E with the yud. A and A. Eh. Ah. Ah. O, it's a dot over the top of any of the letters. O. U. This is also our U, the three lines, and that shpa, which just gives us the sound of that letter.
Mhm.
All right, so let's start with, let me see, let's start with Mary. If you would read lines 2, 3, I'm going to say 2, 3, 4, and 5. Get a little faster.
Okay. Kodush.
Yes, line 1. Yes, it's kadosh. Kadosh.
Oh no, I was looking at 2. I'm sorry,
All
I
right, so
didn't.
redo 2 then. Go ahead, look at that.
Okay.
That's what's up underneath.
That's
Nope, it's an E.
oh
Under. Right.
Kiddush. Kiddush.
Yes.
Okay.
Look myself.
Kadosh.
Nah, what's that underneath?
Oh, good. Kadish.
Yes.
This is code.
Yes.
Kodesh.
Mm-hmm.
Dodi.
Yes.
And D. Dibur.
Yes.
Hadar. No. Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Hadar.
Hadar. Yeah, you see the difference. The Dalet and the Resh. Resh is just that rounded. Dalet has a little cap.
Let's see. Hadrat.
Okay. So there's no 2
Hadrat.
dots. It should have 2 dots under it, but it's Hadrat.
Hadrat.
Mm-hmm.
Kodesh. Adon.
Yes.
Adon.
Mm-hmm.
Olam. Adon Olam. Lima dot.
So this it should have 2 dots, and this is another word we know. Limadita.
Lima dita.
Okay.
Oh, so
Oh
What's
no.
that?
Tzedek.
Yes.
Tzedek. Adik.
Yeah.
Oh,
Same one as
Sadiq.
this.
Sadiq.
Sadiq. Yes. Yes.
So I was getting those 2 mixed up that you
Right.
tell us.
Nope. That's your tzadi. Okay. And the last word. Do this one.
Kadosh.
Good. Okay. And because we have a few small words there. All righty, Marge Kramer, if you would do 6, the whole thing, and 7 and 8.
Kadesh, Kiddush, Karosh.
No, look at that.
Oh, Kadosh,
Yes.
Kad, Kad, Kadsho.
No, says,
No?
all right,
Kar,
Kadisho.
oh,
It
Kadisho.
would help if he put those two,
Yeah,
that's
I
fine.
think so.
It would,
Oh,
but go ahead,
so-
it's Kadisho.
Okay, so instead of blending it, you would put the, like, think 2 dots.
The 2 dots, yes,
Yeah.
Kadisho, yes.
Kadisho. Okay. Kad, Kadishecha?
Now this, because it's Kadshecha. This one is a blend, and
Oh,
it would have 2 dots there, so it's Kadshecha.
how
Okay.
do we know the difference? We don't.
Well, to
You
be
tell
honest with
us.
you, it's a
Yeah.
matter of knowing the words sometimes. You
Okay.
eventually you learn the words, you know the words, and you know what that's what you're saying is you hear it. So, and like I say, it would help if he would have put the shva in there. I don't know why. I don't know the theory behind how he's done these, but yeah. But because you'd have 2 that are without regular vowels, you it you have to do it. It's got to come out of your mouth easily. Kad shecha. So you blend kad shecha.
Okay, we just need you as a coach here.
Yeah.
Okay, Kadisha, Kiddushan,
What's his bottom?
Ki,
Right,
Kiddishanu,
right.
Kiddishanu, Kidashata, no,
So this
Kida,
one's
Kidashta.
yes, good.
Okay, Mikadesh,
Mm-hmm.
Kol,
Mm-hmm.
Kol Adonai. No? Oh, wait, where am I? Am I on 7?
Oh,
Or
I'm
did-
sorry, you're here.
Did I
This is
stop?
it. Adonai, you said it. Ko
Okay.
Adonai.
Kol
Adonai.
Adonai
And what's
Behadar.
good? Okay, and then do 8.
Lich rate.
No, it's not a ch sound. This is a kuf.
Leak.
Yes.
Leak rock.
Yeah. No, the aleph is a silent, so you would hear this last letter.
That's a tough.
Yes, the
So
tongue.
it's lach, leak, rock.
Leak.
No, leak, rot, rot.
Yes, good. Yes.
Leak, rot, Shabbat.
Okay,
Shabbat.
good. Okay, yes, that's it. All righty. Lines 9, 10, 11, and 12. Let's see. Eileen, please.
Makor, makor.
Okay, so wait a minute. You sounds like you're saying or, which would be an oo. So it's koer. Okay, makoer. You have to hear that
Makor.
O sound.
Okay.
Well, it could be your
Ma-
accent. It could be every, we all
Makor.
have different accents. But go ahead.
Makor, makor,
Okay.
ha, bara,
Not ba. It's not ba. It's b. Just b.
habaraha,
Mm-hmm.
say, zait,
Good.
zeker, kem,
No.
zekim,
Zait chem. That's a chaf.
zekim,
Mhm.
zekim, mitzrayim,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yazik,
Not z. That would be a zion. It's tz. Yitziat. Okay.
Mitziat,
Right.
Mitzrayim,
Yes. And then this one.
Hamotzim,
No. Say it again.
Ha motzi
Good.
ma sa.
Yep. Hamotzi matzah. That was our blessing for matzah. All right. So where are we? Janice, if you would read 13, 14, you'll read again. Read 13 and 14 right now.
Tzedek, Sadiq, Sadiqim, Sadaka,
Not sa, si.
Tzedaka, Tzedaka,
Yep.
Sion, Ratzon, Ritza, Ritze,
Yes.
Ritze,
Ritze.
Ritze,
Mhm.
Seat.
Good. Okay. All right. Very good. All right. So here, I'll have you read this to it. We're at Unit 5, and this is part of. Let me see what he's doing. Okay. All right. So read read this prayer, these two lines.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik
Mm-hmm.
ner shel Shabbat.
Good. And that's the blessing for over the candles.
Mhm.
Ner is a candle. The hadlik is to light it, to light the candle of Shabbat. Okay. All righty. And then this one, let's see. Dorothy, if you would please read this line here.
The one with two arrows. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Baruch melech lechadlik.
Yeah, he doesn't have any of those under there, so it's
Sorry?
yeah, you're saying lahadlik. Meanwhile, none of the vowels are there, but that is the word, so that's good. And then read
Oh
this.
yeah, they're not, but I mean that's
Right. Okay, that's good. And this?
Eloheinu, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Asher.
Yes. Okay. So the Shva,
Mhm.
this is it. And it's the two dots. And every word that does, you rarely see, you'll see an aleph without a Shva in a word,
Mhm.
but we know it's silent. I am not sure why they just put that aleph in, but they do. But any other time, if you see a letter with a shva, it's this certain sound. So it's you hear the sound of the letter. So like here, it's b b, s s b. So let's have Dorothy. Let me have you read
Mhm.
1, 2, and 3. Okay.
Bracha.
Mm-hmm.
Tzidka.
Now it's daka.
Oh yeah, sorry, tzedaka, right? Borit.
Yes.
Shema. Kiddush. Kiddusha.
Mm-hmm.
La Shalom. Lacha. Lechu. Naranana.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. And do this last one.
So here, you see, he has. It looks like it's. Are we saying it's separate, like ma, lache, like separately, or ma
Yeah,
lache? We're
yeah,
supposed to. I
just
don't know. It's like he's separated.
just read it.
So
Yeah, it is
it's
separated.
like ma lache,
Just
ha,
read. Yeah.
malachim, ba.
No, just read what he's got. He has it separated.
Okay,
So
ha, malachim.
not
Okay,
ma, me.
okay, mela. Okay, ha, melachim.
Okay.
Ba, rahu, ba, rahuni. Tzadachem,
What's this?
tzatachem, tzatchem.
Seit chem.
Oh, Tzatchem, sorry, Tzatchem,
Mm-hmm.
ki dishanu.
Okay, right. So these are what we call the sounded shva. You hear them. You hear just that letter. So the silent shva, and it's what we call the blend. I explain it by blending it. So let me have Mary. Let me have you read this. You're not going to hear this. It's just you're not going to hear le. You're just going to have a blend of it.
Mal,
Good.
uh, Malache.
All right. So this is just ache right now.
Oh, I see. Ahe.
Uh-huh.
Um, Elyon.
Well, it's L,
Oh,
and then it's
El.
Yon. He wants you to.
Yon.
He's trying to get you to everyone to realize that
Yeah.
the blend is silent. That letter is silent with the schwa under it, and then the rest of the word. So it can be broken down into two parts to it.
Oh, I
So let's
see.
try this one again. This one too.
Baruch. Um, Melech.
Okay. So here he says he refers to it as both because it's gonna be you're gonna
Mm.
hear it in some parts with the sound and then not with the silent. So it's lahad leak. So that blended lahad leak and kad shicha. This is particularly the one. Kad is that blend. Whenever you have the two that have the shva right next to it, that's what happens. The first one will blend. The second one you will pronounce it. You'll make it a sound, sh, or whatever else the letter is. Okay. So here the shva shortens the vowel. And these are your vowels. And I guess I've never taught it this way, but okay. So here it's a, eh, rather than hearing it longer. So, Mary, okay. So let me have Margie read these two lines.
Alechem,
Mm-hmm.
Malache, Adon, Eloheinu,
Mm-hmm.
Asher, Baruch, Atah, Adonai, Eloheinu, Melech, Ha'alam, Asher.
Okay. Right. Okay. Um, don't ask me. I really don't know why they have to put the schwa there. It's just, it doesn't, it truly doesn't change the sound a lot. And the way everybody reads their Hebrew, with different intonations, it comes out, fine. But at the beginning, so okay, let's go on. We will go to the next vowel.
Could I
What?
ask a question, Anne? If you
Sure.
go back right there on number 7, the first word in number 7.
Mm-hmm.
So when the yid follows, I
When
didn't
the
know
yod,
how. Oh, I see. That's the A. Okay.
right. So alechem, you don't really hear the yod. Some people get that in, but most don't. They just say
Okay.
lay,
Okay.
and chem. Yeah. So
That's what I wasn't sure about that.
okay. All right.
Thank you.
Good. You're welcome. All right. So this is our O sound at the top. It's a vav with a dot, and it's always an O. Now, there are times then it will say when it will be the vav with the O sound, so it's vo. But then there are that when you see just the vav and the dot in the bot, that's and another letter before it, that's an O. All right. So, like I say, I do believe that sometimes it's just a matter of learning these words and knowing the words. So
Guess they would never have
I don't know for
a
sure.
word that starts with O.
Go in the bedroom. Can you please go in the
it
bedroom?
starts with O.
Yeah, then we would think it's vo.
Right, right. I'm just trying to think it wouldn't. There are words that start with oo because that means and. So there are words that would start with the oo, but I don't think there is anything that starts with an O.
Yeah, this
And
was wondering.
it would be the vo. It would be.
Okay.
All right, so let's go on. Eileen, let me have you read. Yeah, Margie read, right? Let me have you read lines 1 and 2.
Shalom, Kadosh, Notah,
No, 2 dots.
Noteh,
And what's this?
Natain,
Yes.
Torah,
Mm-hmm.
Yon,
T. It's a
Sion,
t.
Sion,
Yes.
Sion, Razon,
Not zone, not z. T.
Razun, Razun,
Ratzon.
Ratzon.
Okay.
Ratzon, Olam, La, La, O,
Le.
Le,
Not la.
Le,
Le.
Leolam,
Mm-hmm.
Hayom, Otanu, Hamotzi,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ma Zot, Ma Zot,
So,
Ma Zot, Maza,
no. You're saying a z sound. It's a, I don't know how else to, t.
Matzah,
It's
Mitzah,
like TS. T.
yes, Mitzah,
Okay.
Matzot, Matzot.
Good. All right. Vitsivanu, that's this word. Vitsivanu, where we see the vav as the consonant, and it's v, and you hear it. Now it'll be sometimes in a word, sometimes at the beginning, but this is, it has the shva there, and it will, I think, almost always have a shva for some reason. The v, the vav. All right. So, all right. Let's see. Janice, if you would read lines 4, 5, and 6.
Va, va, vo, vi, vi, they, ve, vu, vu, vo, the.
Mm-hmm.
The Shabbat, the Ratzah, the Odd, the Ed,
Not the.
Vaed,
Yes.
Vaed,
Yes.
the R Odd,
Mm-hmm.
Olam, Leolam, Vaed, the Otanu,
No. What's this?
the Otanu.
Yes. Yes. Okay. The Otanu. Good. All right. So most of the time it's saying and Shabbat. V'ratzah, Ve'ad. Olam is world. Le'olam is to the world. Okay. So let's go on. Then Dorothy, if you would please read 7, 8, 9.
Mitzvah, mitzvah,
No.
mitzvah,
No. Mitzavecha.
mitzvah, oh yeah, mitzvah,
Mm-hmm.
Hayom, mitzvah,
What's this?
mitzvah, sorry,
That's okay.
mitzvah,
Uh-huh.
mitzvah, okay, Mitzrayim,
And what's this?
mitzrom, oh, mitzvom, mitzvot, sorry, mitzvot,
Mitzvot.
mitzvot,
Vote.
yes,
Oh,
mitzvot,
mitzvot. Uh-huh. Okay.
okay, it's tzira, oh, tziva,
Yes.
tzi,
Sorry about those marks there. It's just above.
yeah, tzivanu,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Vitsi, Vanu.
Yes.
Vanu, yeah. Vitsi Vanu.
Okay. I'm not sure why there's a question, exclamation point there, and while we're reading, learning, but that you ignore that. I ignore that.
Well, we could
So,
say Vitsi Vanu.
right. All right, line 9. Do that, please.
You want me to continue? Okay.
Please, yeah, line
Okay.
9.
Tziva,
Say it again.
Tziva,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Mitzvah, Siva, mitzvah, siva, mitzvah.
Okay, good. All righty. And then Mary, if you would read line 10, please.
Mitzvah, mitzvah,
Mm-hmm.
mitz, vote,
Good.
mitz, vote.
Yes, good. The mitzvah is the commandments. It's people say it's good deeds, but it's also our commandments. We have 613 mitzvot, 613 commandments, things that God expects us to do. Not all of them, obviously, but and some are men and some are women for each one. But the mitzvah is actually the word means commandment. All right. So here's mitzvot. Here's where we have it because you have the silent one, mitzvot. And he's showing that it's written, in most cases, you will see it this way, the second way, mitzvot. You'll see the vav and the o. But you could see it this way too. And like I said, because it would never say mitzvot, it's the vav with the dot at the top, just like the vav with the
There you go.
there. All
So you
right,
see,
so
it could be both ways. Is there not one correct spelling? You can spell it two different ways.
when preceded by a shva, o as o. So it's still o. Yes, it can.
But the correct spelling of this word mitzvot, which way would you
Meets
do it?
vote. Actually, you see it both ways. You do.
Really?
I've seen
Oh,
it both ways.
okay.
In Torah, in Torah,
Yeah.
just I don't know. Either it's who comprised it, who wrote it down, who did. You know that it can be either way. It really can. Okay. All right. So, who was reading? Mary. Mary, let me hear you read. What he's showing is how it's the same. So read read line 1, 2, and 3.
Mitzvah, mitzvah,
Good. Okay.
vote,
Mm-hmm.
vote,
Mm-hmm.
exclamation point. Mitzvot, vote.
Right. Okay. And then you know, you may as well finish these. It's one word each. But go ahead, read this. All these two
See.
lines.
Torah, mitzvot.
No. Remember I
No.
said to you, sometimes that can be you hear that.
Oh, it can be, mitzvot,
No.
vote,
If you see this, it's
vu,
ooh, not vu.
Oh,
Ooh.
ooh,
Ooh meets vote. Okay, if you see
mitzvot.
that dot, if you see that vowel,
oh.
ooh.
So
Ooh
it's
meets vote.
mitzvot, not vu, right?
Correct. It's not vu.
Oh,
It's
Ooh,
ooh.
mitzvot.
oh, okay.
Yes.
Torah, mitzvot,
Mm-hmm.
mitzvot, Adonai,
Mm-hmm.
mitzvot, Adonai.
Okay. All right. So when they say b'mitzvot tav, it's in meaning in or some say with mitzvot tav. It's both. But in doing the commandments, mitzvot tav. The mitzvot tav is there. All right. So Marge, would you please read lines 6, 7, and 8?
B'mitzvah.
No.
Oh.
This is a blend. This is one of the silent ones.
Beam bro. No. Beam do.
No. You were right the first time.
I'm sorry. Beam roma. Mar.
Not there's no This is a vav.
What's above? Wait. Beam ro mav.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes.
Ay, ay, ay.
Beam row mauve. Now, if you see it this way, same.
Beam, row, mav.
Good. Good. They took out the yud. It's the same word. It's the same thing, but without the yud. Okay. And yeah. All right. So read this one.
Shalom, bimro, mav,
Good. Mm-hmm.
b'mitzi, no,
Yeah.
yeah, beam, bim, eat,
Be. Be.
bim, bim,
Be.
eat,
No,
bit,
just be.
bit.
And that these
Oh,
two blend.
Bis meets so time.
No, no. It's be meets vo tav,
Mhm.
because that's the mitzvah and it's expanded. So it's be meets vo tav.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm getting confused with the O, the the O
Right.
vowel, and then that's a V sound after the
Oh,
tzaddik.
okay. So here's the shva, which tells us that that goes with the mem. But meets, that's the blend, the silent. So therefore, this would be this vav. You'd have to hear that because you don't hear just a O sound. You hear the letter with the O. So therefore, it's the vav with a dot on the top, and it would be vo. I know it's a little confusing, but eventually you get to know what these words are and you just automatically say them. But it's b'mitz vo tav.
Of.
The
Okay.
tzadi goes with the mem as a silent. So here it is. Here is I'm not sure why he does this. Here's a yud in the between the tav and the vav, just saying that it's tav. You hear the vav at the end, and then here's the same word. So read this one again.
Meets vo tav.
Good. Mm-hmm.
I like the second one better.
All right, do this one.
Kid shanu.
It's ki de.
Oh, kid
This one
shanu.
right, ki de shanu, right. You will hear this. It's a sounded shva.
Okay. B'mitz vo tav.
Good.
Asher
Mm-hmm.
Kidishanu, B'mitzvot tav.
Right, right. It's part of a prayer. Asher
Mhm.
kiddushanu b'mitzvah tav, a blessing. Vitzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. That's another one, a different one, but that's all part of the prayer. Okay, so here we go. This is the second part. He's working on the Shabbat candle blessings, which we did up above. So this is lehad leek. This one blends with the lahad leek ner shel Shabbat. Okay, candle of Shabbat. We light lahad leek, to light, le meaning to light, the ner, the candle, shel Shabbat. Okay. Let me see. Eileen, if you would read lines 1, 2, and 3.
Baruch, Baruch,
No, look at this.
Baruch,
Baruch.
Baruch, Atah, Adonai, Eloheinu, Melech, Ad, Nabo,
No, look, no. This
Hav,
iron, that's the vowel with an iron. The iron is
I,
silent, so all you hear is that, but
Ha'olam,
yes.
Ha'olam, Asher, Kiddi, Shanu, Mitz,
Be, be,
B'mitzvotan,
what? This is a of.
B'mitzvotav,
Good. Ve,
Vatzivanu,
just ve.
Vitzivanu,
Good.
Lahadlik, Ner, Shel, Shabbat.
Right. Okay, that's your bracha. Your blessing. Okay. Um, at the end of the word, the silent, the yud is silent at the end. Okay. All right. So we're going to do another bracha. Let me see what page is 30. All right. We got some more time. So Geffen. Geffen is wine. Sometimes we use grape juice, but it's wine. It's from the grapes, and it's from you make the grapes to make the wine. So this is our gimel, and I guess we haven't really come across many gimels before. So this is our gimel, which is they say it's like a G, g. Not, it would never be a J, like in George. It's always a g, like in go and get and grab. It's the g sound for the gimel. So I'm going to read the first line. Ga, ga, ge, gay, gay, gi, goo, goo, go, go. And you can see it placed the same as all the others. So let me see. Eileen, you read a couple lines. So let's have Janice. Janice, read 2, 3, and 4.
Okay. Go, 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 gadol, gil, gula,
Mm-hmm.
gal, gali, gali, galil, goel, gaula,
Yes.
gil, gila, gar,
Mm-mm. The 2 dots.
oh, ger, gog, gon, gom, galia,
Yeah, look at that.
go, gavia,
Yes, yes, it's a vav, gavia. Okay, so gadol means big. Gan is garden. Gan Eden is the Garden of Eden. And I'm not going to go over any. All right, so let's see. Very good. Dorothy, if you would read lines 5 and 6, please.
Nagila, go, gadol, gadula, ya, yagadar,
Well, 1 dot,
ya,
not yet. Ye,
no. Oh,
ye,
sorry, yeah. Okay. Igadar,
yig, dal.
oh, sorry, Igdal, yes, Igdal. And that's Itkadal.
I think so. Say it again.
Itkadal.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Goel. Gola.
What? Just 2 dots.
Golay. Yeah. Goleo. Goleo.
Uh-huh.
Gula.
Geula.
Ga.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Gaula.
Ge.
Gaula.
Uh-huh. Very good. This is all part of a prayer. I'm sure that sounds familiar to some of you. It is. It's part of the well, Yigdal is a prayer we say on Friday nights, and then the other parts Goel is part of one of the prayers we say for the Amida. And it comes up other times too. Okay. So let's see, Mary, let me hear you do line 7.
La, Tate,
Mm-hmm.
Gida, Gid, Gidula,
Yep.
Li, Le,
Not Lee. Le.
Le, uh, Levot,
No, no. So this yud is a consonant now with a vowel.
Lydia,
Yeah. A yud
yeah,
is like like in
yeah.
yellow. Yeah.
So it's Le, yeah,
Le yo. Le yo.
Leo, oh, Leo, see,
2 dots.
Tsar,
Ser.
Leo, Salotser.
Le Yotzer.
The Yotzer.
Good.
Bereshit.
Mm-hmm. Bereshit. Right. It means in the beginning. That's our first book of the Torah.
Mhm.
Beginnings. All right. And line 8.
Vehu. El.
Mm-mm.
No. Eli.
Yes.
Go. Li.
Good.
Veyom.
No, no.
Veim. Veim.
Yes. Good.
Ge- let's see. V. VT. VRT.
Yati. Geviyati.
Gviyati.
Yes. Okay. Geviyati. Good. All righty. And let's see. Margie, please read line 9.
Ye, gadol,
Not dol.
gal.
Yes.
Gadal, v'yikadash, shenei rabbah.
Okay. Very good. That's part of our Kaddish.
Right.
There's 3 different Kaddish, and that's part of it there. Okay. So here we go, the Gimel. They say G garden. That's so funny. And Geffen is not garden. Gan is garden. But Geffen is another word. There, in this word Geffen, let me look at the time. Well, we're a little close. Uh, this is the Fe sound. This is a Fe. No dot in there. It's empty. It's a Fe, and it's a PH sound. I always say it's an F, but
Yeah.
either way, it's the same. F. So actually, we're going to stop shortly, and just you can start practicing at home with page 38 with the Fae. And he's just going to do the Fae first. So I'm going to stop share. Okay. Any questions?
I wanted to ask you if perhaps towards the end of our course, if we could practice the mourner's Kaddish. I don't know if everyone feels that's something they'd like to do, because I could follow. If I had to read it myself, I know I would have a hard time. And that's something to me is very important because I say it so many times a year. Yeah.
Actually, we can do that if you all would like. We next week we could do that. We can practice. It's
Okay.
good to practice these prayers in between. So if you all have a Siddur,
Mhm.
do you all have a Siddur? Yes, yes.
Yes.
Anybody who does not?
Could you send us just the prayer? Is
All
that-
right, I'll pull it up. Yeah. And I'll pull up Mourner's Kaddish just so you know. There's Kaddish Shalem, which is a half Kaddish. There's Kaddish Yatom, which is the Mourner's Kaddish, and then there's Kaddish de Rabbanan, which is it's called the Rabbi's Kaddish, and that's the one we say in the morning, and it's a little bit longer and a little bit different. So and then there's Kaddish. There's a fourth Kaddish, and which we don't say too much, but I can't remember the name. Sorry, I'll get that. I'll let you know all 4 Kaddish, and I'll send you a copy. Not a problem. But you're right. That's a good thing to know.
Mhm.
Once you move up into advanced beginner and intermediate, you're going to be doing prayers.
Okay.
The beginners is we're just working on the letters and the vowels. Most of you do pretty good. Know a lot of it. It's just practice. But when you do go into the advanced classes, then you'll start working on prayers. And with me, it's the same thing. We read it. We read the prayer, and I correct and I give them some input and that kind of thing. But that's a good thing, Dorothy. I'll definitely make sure that that's what you all get. Okay.
I have
All
a
right,
question.
ladies.
I have
Sure.
another question. I have another question. When is our last class?
Our last class is, I think,
June the
actually,
10th.
June
okay.
10th?
Oops,
Yeah.
sorry. I think it's June 10th. Yeah. I have it
Okay.
written down. June 10th. Yes.
Okay, the other question I have is, will there be like a class? So the next class, would it be after this? I mean, will it start after this class, or is there a break?
No, why, no, well, May 13th is the next class.
No, 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 no. I mean, the course, once
Oh,
the course
course.
is over.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're actually gonna, the teachers and Julia and Ellen, who are the educators, we're gonna be talking about that at a meeting today. I'm sure we have had such a wonderful response from everyone wanting to take classes and learn and, just even just reviewing for a lot of them. So we'll definitely have more classes, I'm sure. I'm sure.
And would
I do
we,
want to tell you, what?
Oh.
Go ahead.
well, would we graduate to the next class? I mean, or how would that work? Like, I mean, are we at a level we
Yeah,
can graduate or?
well, we're not having a
Graduate
graduation
class.
party.
You know what I mean, going into the,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Matriculate. You want to matriculate. That's
Thank
the,
you.
that's we're just
They-
a matric. Yes.
Unless somebody were to be doing terribly, and I would tell Julia they can't go on. Everyone goes on because they don't want you to repeat if they feel you've gotten it. Now, I just hope we get through the book of it. I may have to speed up or change some things so that we get through all those letters. I'll have to look at that and all, but yeah, you will automatically go on to the next, unless if you yourself feel that you just don't grasp it. And none of you all are grasping it. You really are. Yes, you make a couple of errors, but how long have you really been studying it? Maybe been to services a lot, but that doesn't mean you've been reading it a lot. So, but you're doing great. I think I really do. You all get it. And you know, it's so interesting that some of the things that you get stuck on, everyone seems to get stuck on certain things for some reason. So yes, you'll go on. The other thing I do have to tell you though is the next class is the 13th, and I am not, there's going to be a substitute, I think, as long as she can get it. I'm going to be at my grandson's graduation
Oh, okay.
in St. Paul, Minneapolis. It's going to be a little cold, but he's graduating from McAllister. So
Very nice.
yeah,
Nice.
There's no class next week? No class
there's
next?
class. We're going to get a substitute, so somebody will
Oh,
work
because
with you.
you said May 13th. That's not May 13th next week.
May 6th is the
Oh,
next.
where am I?
You skipped one.
You're right. I
Yeah.
apologize. Actually, earlier I'd said to myself in 2 weeks, and then I forgot.
Yeah.
Yes, we have class next week, May 6th. I'll send you information and I'll send you about the cottage, and we'll work on that on May 6th. We'll do
Okay.
that. Okay. But then the following week, there'll be a substitute,
Okay.
hopefully. So it may even be Julia, So you may find, I think all of us teachers do it differently. So it may be different. It may be better. It may be just different, whatever it is. But you'll still have class. We won't not give you class because that's important. All right, ladies, have a great weekend. Have a Shabbat Shalom, and I will see you next week.